and we are live at our Connect Her Lunch and Learn, and I hope that anybody that's on with us today, if you are, you'll find that it will ask you to give StreamYard permission to know who you are. So if you want to comment today, if you've got any questions today, you can just pop them in the comments of our live, and we will read those. So big shout out to everybody that's coming on today with our Lunch and Learn. So if you've got any questions, we'll be answering those throughout the course of our Lunch and Learn, and we'll just wait a few minutes for people to come on. Don't forget, it will ask you if StreamYard can have access to your details, and what that's doing, it's allowing us to know that it's your name that is coming up on there. So just make sure you do that. Otherwise, it comes up with Facebook user, and we want to be able to give you a shout out today as well. So hi, Kay. We've got Kay Cremond joining us. Good afternoon. Lovely to see you. I've just come off a Connect Her event. So literally had enough time to have a quick drink. I've got mine with me. A quick drink and then get onto the Lunch and Learn. Rightio, I think we'll just let people know to, if you would like to comment or you've got questions, because we've got Dr. Vesna on with us today, just make sure where it says StreamYard that it will ask if you can have access. It will ask permission to see your name. So there is also a link in the comments. You can just click on that and say yes, and then we know exactly who's on. Hi, Linda. I hope you had time to grab your lunch between meetings. Lovely to see you. Rightio, we are going to get started. So today with me in our Lunch and Learn, we have Dr. Vesna Grubacevic, and I hope I said that correctly, Vesna.
Yes, Lee, well done.
Oh, good. I've been practicing in my sleep just about.
Oh, wow.
So pretty close. So Dr. Vesna, I'm going to call you Dr. Vesna from here on in, is actually a well-known author. So she's the author of Stop Sabotaging Your Confidence, which was an Amazon bestseller book. She's also been received by Hollywood and Australian celebrities. She's been featured on American and Australian TV and media, and also the Transformational NLP Guide, co-author of Game Changers, Innovation in Business, and creator of Self-Empowerment Technique, which Vesna is also a very sought-after speaker at business events, conferences, expos, and obviously now that we are in a little bit of isolation, I'm sure that she's also been asked to come and join people on their Zooms, and we are very, very lucky to have Dr. Vesna Grubacevic with us on Lunch and Learn. So today's topic is how to stay focused on business success during challenge and uncertainty. So there we go. Hello, Dr. Vesna, and welcome to our Connect Her Collective Lunch and Learn.
Thank you, Lee. Great to be here. Hello, ladies.
Yes, well, we've got a few on with us, and we will be checking our comments. We've got Di Mason, we've got Jackie Smith. So we would love, if you've got any questions throughout the course, that you do definitely pop your questions in there or your comments, and we will address those. So, Dr. Vesna, we are going through some really big challenges at the moment. People are feeling anxious. There's uncertainty, there's levels of stress, there's, challenges around how we do business, our health. There's a lot of anxiety as well. It's a bit hard to stay motivated and stay confident. So I'd love to have a chat about that today. So given your background, how are you finding things amongst your clients and what you're hearing out in the marketplace?
Yeah, well, you summed it up very well, Lee. People are stressed, they're worried, they're anxious, they're uncertain. There's a lot of fear in people. People don't know how to cope with the uncertainty. So it's very much about giving people coping strategies. It's very difficult for us to control what is beyond our control. And this whole health scenario that's happening around us is beyond our control individually. There's things we can do. um, I think what we need to make sure we do, rather than focus on things out there that are beyond our control, turn our focus inward on what is within our control. And so I always suggest to focus on four things. There's only four things we can personally control. The first one is how we think. Only we can control that. How we feel, our emotions, the way we behave and react, and finally, how we communicate and influence. So these are the only four things we can control. So either we can, dwell on all the negativity and all the fear that's out there and the uncertainty, and let it affect us and be demotivated and really worried by it all, or we can look at it as an opportunity to, how can we learn from this? How can we turn the challenge into an opportunity to help people in a different way, for example? How can we turn this challenge into a growth opportunity for ourselves? Often situations like this will push people's buttons. I call them buttons because people have anxieties and fears from the past, and often these emotional buttons, if they're not addressed, will get pushed. And often they get pushed by situations like this. And the media is very good at pushing fear buttons. That's part of their role, unfortunately. And so if we have fear buttons inside of us, those buttons can be very easily pushed. But if there's no fear inside of us, it's difficult to push those buttons. So it's a really good opportunity to pay attention to our emotional responses. Are we overreacting to what's going on? Is the fear paralyzing us into inaction? That's all out of proportion responses. So again, we can't control what's happening out there, but we can certainly control how we respond to what's going on out there. And that requires a little bit of faith as well, in terms of, the authorities and everyone, looking out for us. Yeah.
It's interesting, Vesna, because I've talked to many people, as you can imagine, with lots of connections to different people. And one of the things that's been coming up is people have been saying, I've been in a real funk, or I've been so inactive because I just don't know what to do. Like, I don't know what the next step is, or I don't know which way to turn. I can't find my groove is another one. I've lost my groove. I've lost my momentum.
Yes.
Are you finding that people are displaying those sort of anxieties or symptoms?
Yes, they are. And some people are even grieving. They're grieving for the loss of what they had in their life, as in the loss of connection with other people, the loss of the ability to live the life they used to have. So, I think as a society, generally people are going through some sort of grieving process. So anytime we have a loss, we grieve for the loss. Different people do it in different ways. I think it's important to acknowledge it and to acknowledge this is what's going on. It's okay to feel the emotion because we are human. And then it's important to move forward as well. Okay. And I think rather than focusing too much on the losses, let's look at what are the gains or the benefits that we can get out of this scenario. And in the early days, it was very difficult to get the gains and benefits because it was all new and people were still managing the grieving process. Some people are now starting to come through that, and they're actually looking at, okay, well, you know what? I've actually realized that the time that I used to travel to and from work, that I used to complain about, used to take me, 2 or 3 hours in traffic to get home and back, I actually miss it. I actually need that in order to be able to switch off. And by the time I get home, I'm in, personal mode, and I can be fully present for my family. And when I come back to work, I'm in work mode, and actually miss that travel time. Other people are noticing that, being at home 24/7 virtually with their family is actually a positive. They actually like it. So moving forward, they're looking at, well, how can they do more work from home? Other people are looking at how can I work less from home. So, different people are getting different learnings out of this experience.
It's funny you say that, because my husband, who you've really got to rein in. He's always on the go, and he's never at home, or very rarely, which is good for me sometimes. He said, "Oh, isn't it good? We're staying home and we're doing things around the house." And I'm thinking, yeah, if only you did that every year. So, but the positive is that I'm actually getting things done around the house where, he's actually embracing that. So it is very much about embracing what the changes are.
Yes.
Whether they, no matter what they are, because there's always a silver lining somewhere, isn't there?
There is. And from a business point of view, because the ladies listening in are business owners as well, think about the extra time that you would have spent traveling to events and clients would probably add up to at least 2 hours a day, roughly on average. What can you do with that 2 hours in your business? Could you work on a project that's been on the back burner because you've been too busy, that you can now bring it forward and allocate some of that 2 hours towards making inroads on that project? And also think about, this has been a wake-up call for a lot of businesses. What could you do differently moving forward in this new business world, so that way you minimize risk and interruption to business moving forward? Okay, so it's also, how do you minimize risk? How do you make sure you diversify your income should something like this left of field happen in the future?
One of the conversations that I had recently with somebody was their business has basically just closed down. They cannot pivot. So they are now looking for multiple streams of income that they can introduce into their business so that it works alongside what they're doing. So it's not going to completely take them away from their main business focus, but it's going to give them another arm. So I think it's really an opportunity for people to look at other avenues that you can diversify your business without completely, readjusting it and rejigging it. But so the pure essence of your business is still there. However, it's giving you opportunities to have multiple income streams, however they come in. Maybe, you've got that time now to write that ebook, or you've got that time now to create content that you normally don't have because you're driving, or because you're not driving. Or I've saved hours and hours of commuting, which has given me the opportunity to spend more time with content creation or doing these lunch and learns. So that silver lining comes out. So it's absolutely imperative that businesses really do. This is a gift, I believe, that we've been given as business owners, a pure gift that you can either, sort of turn your back on or embrace.
Exactly. Well said. Really well said. And I noticed Linda's comment, you're missing the driving because you'd listen to podcasts and audios. Me too, Linda.
Exactly. It's so true. I spend most of my time, if I'm driving, listening to podcasts. So, and also it's a bit of a downtime too, and an education time. So very much I am missing that.
I think if we can find a way to do that while being at home is really good. So, you could pretend you're driving and still listen to your podcasts at the same time. Yes, you could still structure that in.
Walking?
When you go walking, that's right. So still find opportunities to do that. I'm for anything that keeps you in an empowered frame of mind. That is so important right now.
One of the things that came out from our Connect Her event this morning was the suggestion of our coffee catch-ups, that we do it while we're walking. So, phone someone and do your coffee catch-up and go for a walk, which is incorporating your exercise as well as listening to, having a conversation or listening to a podcast. And Linda's doing her walk right now. Well done. Jacqueline Smith, sometimes I miss not being on the road. I used to use that as my time to reflect on the day, what I needed to do. That's true. That's very true. But then, there's other ways of being able to incorporate, your to-do list. I do mine the night before so that I know exactly what I've got planned for the next day. So, which is very, very good. Now, what else do you think is a good way of staying in that? Oh, we have lost Dr. Vesna. So her internet has cut out. Here we go. I'll just bring her back on.
Okay.
We dropped out, but still back.
I'm back.
So what I was going to ask Vesna was, how do you suggest people can stay focused? Because focus is really something that you can lose if you're feeling overwhelmed, or if you're not used to working from home, or you're not used to working in a particular environment. Yes. What would you suggest?
I suggest that people set themselves goals. In this environment, I appreciate that longer term goals might be a little bit challenging. Having said that, still have a direction where you want your business to be in 5 or 10 years' time, like your longer term vision. The only thing that'll probably change is how you get there, how you achieve the vision. So just sit down and think about, okay, for me to be able to move forward towards the direction I want my business to be in, what can I do this month? Or what can I do this week? Or what can I do today to move towards that? So think about shorter term goals. Goals are so important. They give us motivation. And when we have motivation, we get into action. Motivation always precedes action. If you're unmotivated, you're less likely to take action. So have something to aspire to. And personally, I've had the chance to work on 3 projects that I had on the back burner just in the last week. Okay, so I've taken the opportunity to embrace the extra time to make progress on these things, which are going to help me pivot the business moving forward. So the first thing you need to do, though, before you can pivot your business is pivot your mindset, because you cannot pivot into something new if you're thinking in the old ways. Okay, so it's very, very important. Yeah. So spend some time thinking about, how can you diversify your income streams? How can you create multiple sources of income? How can you make sure that you minimize risk so that, any further disruptions are going to be minimal for you in the future? Look at different ways of helping people. Look at, what are some of the things you can do, whether it's an ebook, content, as you mentioned, Lee, even half an hour a day. The fact that you've achieved something and succeeded at it will boost your confidence, and it'll motivate you to keep going. You'll see progress. That is so important.
Absolutely. One of the things that I've put in, actually one of the last recordings that I did on my podcast, and this was something that I've always had the vision of 1,000 connections across Australia with Connect Her. And then when we reach 1,000, put the 0 on and just keep going. And at the beginning, I started to look and think, oh my gosh, what's going to happen with Connect Her? And went into this frenzy of thought. And then I just went bang. I don't need to change my goal. I just need to look at the way and the plan that I have towards the goal. This is what I just put in the last podcast, and we actually spoke about it on the last meeting, that it's we don't need to change the goal that we have for our business. We just maybe have to look at the way that we're going to, and the direction of which our plans were. They might
Yes.
just slightly change.
Yeah, and the emphasis or focus could shift as well,
Yes,
because people's needs change as well. At the moment, more people are in survival mode than used to be because of the
yes,
nature of the environment. So, food and groceries and shelter, those basic needs are more important than doing things that are higher up the needs hierarchy. So think about, how you can help people with what they need right now, and then, help them with further needs down the track. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. And Kay Cremond has just posted a comment. Planning my day helps keeping me on track. This includes regular breaks, probably more than I used to though. So
Okay.
yeah, and I think breaks are good because we're thrust into this online world at the moment where you have Zoom meeting after Zoom meeting, phone calls, Skype calls, that you do have to take some time out to make sure that there are regular breaks. My regular breaks used to be in between meetings where I would get in the car, put my podcast on, and I would drive, and that would give me enough time to rejuvenate for the next meeting. So,
Yes.
so now, between my Connect Her meeting this morning, which finished at 12, and this that happened at 12:30, that gave me half an hour to grab a drink, go for a walk outside, get some fresh air, get some vitamin D, feel refreshed, and then come back to the
Yes.
computer. So it may be that you are having more regular breaks, but they might be smaller breaks. So
That's
15-minute
right.
or 20-minute blocks.
Yes. 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 In terms of optimal brain function, an hour and a half is the optimal time to spend at any one point working nonstop. Okay, so anything beyond an hour and a half will put you into less productive mode. Okay, so
That's good to know. Yeah.
yeah, we have these cardiac circadian rhythms that happen in our body naturally, and every hour and a half we go through periods of rest and peak activity and concentration. So if you can time your breaks into those rhythms, will be perfect.
Excellent. And is everybody's rhythm different, or is everybody an hour and a half?
It's about an hour and a half to 2 hours, generally speaking, but
Yeah.
research has shown roughly an hour and a half. So this is why if people have a nap at the peak of that rhythm, or that cycle, what will happen is they probably won't get a restful nap because they're too active. So
Mm.
it's good to just, check in with yourself. Where are you with your energy levels? And that'll tell you if you're at the peak or at the trough peak of your rhythm. Yeah.
Excellent. Oh, and
And
it's so
people
good
have
to
different
know.
timings when they go.
Yeah.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
so anybody that is on the live today, if you've got any questions for Dr. Vesna, please pop them in the comments and we will read them out, and Dr. Vesna will be able to answer them for you. So we've talked about focus, and I find that personally, if I don't have focus and I don't have some guidelines around that, what I need to do, that I lose my motivation. So I
Yes.
have to give myself deadlines, and I have to give myself a real focus of what I want to do. Otherwise, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
motivated. So how do you suggest that we stay on top of being motivated, that we are motivated to get up and go into the office or make those phone calls or do the work that we need to do?
Um, be Have a purpose for doing something. Think about your outcome. Okay, think about the outcome for what you're doing. How will it benefit other people? How will it help you in your business? Always have a purpose, because a purpose will give you that higher level motivation, and it'll help you to move forward when the going gets tough. Yeah. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, have something to look forward to each day. Yeah, have something that
Mm-hmm.
really is motivating or fun that you can do each day. For me, I love going for my morning walks. Okay, so I will get up at
Yep.
whatever crazy hour, 4 a.m. if I need to, if I have an early start, to go for my walk. Okay, so it could be anything small. It could be that you're looking forward to having a specific catch-up with somebody you haven't spoken to for a while, or you're connecting with a family member online, and that's giving you something to look forward to. Have something
Absolutely.
fun or unusual to look forward to. Spice up your days, yeah?
Well, we all need a bit of spice in our day, that's for sure. And we definitely need to have something to look forward to, absolutely. And it'll be different for everybody. So we've all got different things that we love. So while we've been talking, we have had some really good questions come through. So are you ready to answer one, Dr. Vesna?
I am ready.
Okay, from Mary Unwin. How do you structure your day at home, Vesna?
Hi, Mary. Great question. So I plan my day in the evenings like you, Lee. So I would sit down in the evening, just before dinner, plan out my day for the next day. And I would generally wake up at a similar time, allow about an hour of time for me in the morning. And that includes exercise, getting myself in the right frame of mind. So I would do, my own mindset techniques to get myself into that focused frame of mind. And then I would start my day with, with breakfast and so forth, and just work through my schedule, work through my to-do list. And I would structure 1.5 hour blocks. That's what I do. I put in an hour and a half maximum for each task. So if I'm working on a project, it's an hour and a half. And then I would do something to break up that time, like, have a morning tea or coffee. And I'm fortunate enough that Mum lives with me, so we'd sit down together, have a morning tea, coffee, have a chat about whatever's going on. Similar topic these days in terms of what's going on in the world, but in terms of how we're feeling, how we're doing, have a different perspective around life, reflect, be grateful for what we do have. And then get into my next hour and a half block and so forth. Have a lunch break, do my 1.5 hour blocks. I typically structure all my creative activities in the morning because I work best when I'm creative. So my creative time is in the morning, and my more admin, routine sort of tasks I do later in the day, where I can just cruise a little bit.
It's interesting you talk about that because, again, this is one of the topics that I've covered in the podcast. My social time and happy to talk with people, happy to be at a meeting is in the morning. I'm quite social in the morning. By about, 1:30 or so, I'm going, I don't want to talk to any more people. And I'm quite creative and I get in and do my tasks and my admin and social. So we have got a split, opposite sides. So now I just want to ask, and also Mary has put this in as well. In your hour and a half blocks, Vesna, when you're doing your projects or whatever you're working on, do you turn off your phone, turn off your emails, you're just focusing on that project? And then another hour and a half block is for communication, or how do you work that hour and a half block?
Yes, good question. So it depends on what I'm doing. If it's an hour and a half project where I need to be creative and think outside the box, I will actually go into a different room away from any devices. Okay, so I'm going into a completely different room away from the devices, and I'm just brainstorming or doing whatever I'm doing with the project for an hour and a half. Hour and a half is done. Then I would go and check emails. So I usually have about a 15-minute to half an hour block in between the hour and a halves for checking emails, replying to messages, etc. And then I get back into my next hour and a half block or client meeting or whatever's booked in. Yeah. So I schedule brief in-between blocks for emails. And I usually do a block early in the morning, first thing. So to start off the day, make sure I deal with the emails from the night before. Some people tend to email, 3 a.m. in the morning. So, I reply to those. I'm asleep then. So, and then I do another block around lunchtime, and then I do one in the evening just before I switch off the computer and call it a day.
Excellent. That's a really good question. And one thing that I have to say that I've really changed over the course of probably the last 12 months. And I was very much a reactive person. An email came in, oh, I better respond. A message came in, I better respond. And I've actually changed that because I was not becoming very, what's the word? I wasn't getting through my work. I wasn't being very functional because I was just so reactive all the time. One of the things, and I'd like your input onto this, is one of the things that I found when the coronavirus and COVID-19 and all that came about is I do a lot of work on Facebook for Connect Her. So I've always, most times I've got, depending on what I'm doing, I've got Facebook open. And one of the things that kept popping up, because I like Channel 9 and Channel 7, I would have the news feed come up that it's live. So all of a sudden, I would stop what I was doing and I would watch with intent this Facebook Live, which was, you know, the Prime Minister or the Chief Health Officer or the Premier, whoever it was. And then I'd start reading the comments, and then I'd get caught up in the negativity of the comments that I've actually had to turn off the likes on those so that I cannot watch it because it was draining me emotionally and it was draining my time. So I'd love your input and comments on that. I think I know what they are, but I'm wondering if anyone else online has had that as well. I've really had to catch myself.
Yes, it's something that you really have to be disciplined about. We used to have, in the old normal, our news would be for about an hour each night, and that'll be, you know, the only news people would pretty much watch. I'd call it National Depression Hour because it's so negative. Unfortunately, now it's extended to almost 24/7 with, you know, the virus being reported nearly throughout the whole day. So, you know, people at home, if they watch more TV when they're at home, or if they're on social media more, they're more likely to be tempted to, you know, check what's going on. And, you know, it's human curiosity. We want to know what's going on. You know, we want to know, when will it be over? When can I do X, and so forth. So it's discipline. It's really discipline. So for me, if you have clear goals, clear projects to be working on that really motivate you, that you're really, really passionate about doing, the distractions will be much easier to ignore. In the absence of goals and that motivation, you'll be so easily distracted and you'll procrastinate. It's just too easy because there's nothing to keep your focus. There's nothing that's really driving you. So it's like, oh, let's have a look over here. Yeah. So I think it's great that you've turned off the notifications because you can always hop online. And this is what I've done, because initially, I'll confess, I got drawn into it because it was like this, you know, big thing and I wanted to understand it. And then I thought, you know what, this is getting too much. And so now my discipline is I wait until the next morning. And so in the morning, I would check, okay, what's happened overnight? Quick check. And I Google some reputable news websites to get the facts from the horse's mouth, so to speak, government, health websites, etc. None of this media, misinformation and various opinions. Just straight to the horse's mouth. Okay, what's happening? Great, now I know. Get back into business. Okay, so it is
which is all about being mindful that you're not getting drawn into that.
Yes.
That big, pot of negativity. So now we've talked about focus, we've talked about motivation. I know that some people have been challenged with having to be more astute with things like online, Zoom meetings, technology.
Yes.
And it can actually, and also your business might be going through huge changes that you're not sure how to focus on or what to focus on, that it can really have a bit of a a bashing of our confidence and our self-confidence, and also, I think, to an extent, our self-worth. So what ideas do you have to help people with their confidence around all of this?
Okay, so great question. Great question. There are over 35 different confidence saboteurs, according to my research. So we need to look at what's sabotaging the confidence. And one of the biggest saboteurs is fear and anxiety. Okay, because when people get caught in fear and anxiety, they will make decisions that are fear-based, and often those decisions are the worst decisions and they'll regret them later. Okay, so never make a decision out of fear or scarcity. Okay, it's often the wrong one. Fear also gets in the way of our intuition. Okay, fear will have us act against our intuition. So we need to make sure our intuition is pure and not fear-based. I'm not talking about the fight or flight response. That's an appropriate fear response because we need that in order for our protection and safety. I'm talking about an over-the-top fear about, oh my gosh, what's going to happen in the future, etc., doom and gloom. Yeah. So that's what we need to avoid. And one way to avoid it is be mindful of who you listen to, what you read, what you watch, who you surround yourself with. Make sure it's positive rather than negative. And secondly, pay attention to your response. If you are doing anything or hearing or talking to anyone and your emotions are negative, you're feeling down or drained afterwards, there's your body telling you it's not good for you. Okay, so listen to yourself. Do things that energize you. Do things that boost your confidence. Do things that help you to feel good rather than not so good. Okay, so confidence is a positive emotion. Fear is a negative emotion. What we want to do is make sure that the confidence is higher, stronger than the fear. If the fear is stronger, it'll suppress our confidence. Yeah.
And so, also, Vesna, I know that I'm an emotional eater. Like, and as soon as something happens, I'm in the fridge, I'm in the cookie jar. So if you start losing that confidence and you've got a disproportionate balance, it can have effects on your health, on your weight.
Yes.
The whole thing, it just explodes, doesn't it?
It does. People form all sorts of coping strategies to deal with stress and uncertainty. You've seen it. People panic buying in the shops. That was one way people coped. And another way is people turn to habits like, drinking, smoking, eating, you name it. So there will be some bad habits that people will pick up through this process, unfortunately. Only because some people may not have other ways of dealing with the uncertainty and the anxiety. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So with the emotional eating, Lee, just think about, check in with yourself in terms of, what are you thinking and what are you feeling before you go and do it. Okay. So just in that moment, because chances are it's a negative thought and or a negative emotion that's driving it.
Absolutely. And that's a whole different ball game. But I thought I'd just bring up that when your confidence is down, when you're not motivated, when you don't have focus, it can open up, as you say, all sorts of things. That mine is emotional eating. I used to smoke. I was a heavy smoker for years and years and years. It's easy to turn back to those sort of things. So we've got to be mindful that these three areas, particularly through this uncertainty, that we look after ourselves as much as our business.
Yes. I think the more we can create positive ways to give ourselves certainty, the less we're going to rely on other things to give us certainty. The more control we feel within ourselves, the less we'll seek control through other vices, as I call them, whether it be food or alcohol or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I'm going to open up. If anybody's got any more questions for Dr. Vesna, we are going to. Okay, Mary. so good to unpack sustainable strategies to manage our understandable emotions of fear, loss of control, and the stress of the uncertainty.
Yeah, thank you, Mary. Love your comments. Thank you.
And I love this one. I'll just pop this up. This is from Mary Unwin. This is gold, Vesna. Absolutely. Jacqueline Smith has popped in a comment. Is that being aware of our own self-awareness and what we can control?
Yes, think about what we can control. Be aware. So pay attention to things like your thoughts. Check in with your thoughts. Are they positive or negative? Check in with the way you're feeling. Again, is it positive or negative? Check in with the way you respond to what you read, hear, and listen to, and people. Do you overreact or do you react appropriately? And you'll know, because you'll reflect back and you go, oh, I was a little bit abrupt, or I shouldn't have gotten so angry, or maybe I should have been a bit more gentle or kind in my response. You'll know when it's inappropriate or over the top. So I think self-awareness is really, really valuable, because with that self-awareness, we can also then look at, okay, well, what would I like to change moving forward so that it's no longer going to get in the way of my success?
It's quite, I'm really glad that you brought up about kindness, because I know that I'm the sort of person that, oh, well, all right, well, this is thrown at us, just keep moving. And I will have my moments, but I do them privately, like, oh my God, I have my crash, and then I get back up. Other people do it publicly. They have their crash publicly. And we have to be mindful, and I really had to take a step back and think about, be kind. Not everybody operates on the same path as you or the same wavelength as you. So people are going to react differently no matter what, and we have to be mindful and we have to be caring. And this is, for some people, a particularly stressful time. And there have been a lot of reports on social media of people that haven't coped and are no longer with us. And it came up at our Connect Her meeting just this morning. So that kindness, I think, is a really important attribute that we all have to share and be very mindful of.
Yes, I use the belief that we have as a core belief in NLP, which is respect other people's views of the world. Everyone has their own values and beliefs. Everyone has their own upbringing. Everyone has their own opinion. Everyone has their own challenges. So I think it's easy to judge. I think it's easy to judge without realizing it. So the minute you disagree with somebody and make them wrong for their view, it's a form of judgment. So I think we just need to accept, okay, this is where they're coming from, and even think about, well, okay, what are the beliefs or past experience they could have had in order for them to have this view or to make this comment. And so, get curious about why they think that way, rather than make them wrong for it or judge them for what they're thinking. I think social media is notorious for making people wrong for having different opinions, as in people on social media can be quick to judge. So Absolutely. I think we just need to, we need to be kind to ourselves first and then to other people, because typically people who are unkind to others are unkind to themselves. So start with self-love, self-kindness, be gentle on yourself during this time. It's okay to have a mini meltdown, Lee. It's called being human. I do have emotions as well. I will go through my little emotions as well, and that's part of being human. The key is this: how you bounce back from the challenge. It's okay to have a mini meltdown or whatever you want to call it. The key is, how do you get back on the horse and refocus? Okay, so strategies around that is really, really important.
Absolutely. Now, I know that you've got some tools that you are sharing today as a free resource for those strategies. So I'm going to call out that if anybody's got any more comments or questions, because there's a little bit of a delay, if you can do that now, and then I'm also going to, while you're doing that, I'm going to share with you a free resource that Dr. Vesna is kindly giving out to everybody that is on the call today live and also the replay. So just if you've got any comments or questions, just pop that through. We've got Di Mason, and some can be particularly nasty, talking about social media. Absolutely. Absolutely. So if you would like to get in touch with Dr. Vesna and find out more about what she does and her book, the website is QT, the letter QT, transformation.com. So that's your website, and there's a plethora of information on there. And also, I don't know whether you can see, but you do a lot of certification courses as well. So are they being done online now, or are they on hold until you can do them face to face?
So at the moment, we have them scheduled for end of the year. And in the meantime, people are working through the pre-study materials. So they're doing their homework, if you like, all the preparation in the lead up to the live training component.
What a great idea.
Yeah, so they're keeping busy.
Yeah, absolutely. And people can find out about your certification courses by visiting qttransformation.com. But grab your pen and paper, ladies, because this is where you can get the free resources that Dr. Vesna is sharing. So even if you are on the replay, you will still get access to this. So it's qttransformation.com/NLP hyphen or dash free hyphen resources hyphen tools. So qttransformation.com/NLP dash free dash resources dash tools. So so they are all there for you, and thank you so much for sharing those with everybody that's on the live today. I really appreciate that. So thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
Now I'm just going to check. We have got Mary Unwin. Sorry, Mary, I'm not putting your comment up because I'd like to leave up the free resource tools link so that people can write that down. Self-compassion first gives us more energy and kindness for others. And that is absolutely true and 100%. So big thanks, Vesna, from Mary. And I'm sure that everybody on today thanks you. You've been such a fantastic guest and you've given us so much information. So I really do appreciate that. And I'd love you to stay online because everybody, we do a shout out after every lunch and learn that anybody that stayed on until the end, if you pop in the comments your website or your Facebook page, we will do a shout out for you. So, so we'll wait for those to come along. Now, Dr. Vesna, I am going to be pulling the audio from this and popping this through on our podcast. So you'll be coming up in our podcast. And also this will be coming up as well on our YouTube channel. So I want to thank you so much. You just give so freely of your information and sharing. And I think everybody is just very happy to have this information that you shared today. Di Mason said, thank you. It's excellent. Mary said, big thanks, Vesna. So thank you. Yes, much, much appreciated. So don't forget too that we have got the live that stays in this group, which is the Connect Her Collective, and also it stays in here so you can watch the replay. Now, just a little while we're waiting for those to come through, don't forget qttransformation.com/NLP-free-resources-tools to connect with the free tools, Dr. Vesna's website is qttransformation.com. So that's the ways to get to Dr. Vesna. If you'd like to head over to our Connect Her Facebook page, we announce who's coming on to our collective and our Lunch and Learn. So next week, I should have had my diary open, shouldn't I? But I think we've actually got Mary Unwin on with us. Let me just check. I should have had it, shouldn't I? In front of me, and I didn't. No, I lie. I've got Carolyn Smith. Now, Carolyn is one of our leaders, and she's had to pivot her business, and we're going to be talking about how she pivots her business and what she's been doing. She's a personal trainer, so there's lots to learn on that one. Don't forget to head over to the Connect Her Marketplace. This is a public Facebook group. You can promote your business every day of the week, any day of the week, once a day, so long it is not a business opportunity. And also our Connect Her events. Don't forget to head over to connecther.com.au/events so that you can keep up to date with all of our events that are going on. But don't forget, I really want you to head over to qttransformation.com/NLP -free-resources-tools to pick up those tools from Dr. Vesna. Now we've got comments coming in, so here we go. We have got Kay Cremond with a Facebook page, Live Better for Longer. So head on over and connect with Kay. We have got Mary Unwin, walktall.com.au or Walk Tall Mary, which is the Facebook page. So thank you. We've gone way over time today because we just mined some huge amount of information. So we're doing quick shout outs today. We've got Di Mason, who's saving you money on your everyday bills, and that's the website there. We have got Connect Her with Karen Galbraith. So Karen's come in as Connect Her, and she is at /3977. Just go onto the website. Mary, big thanks also to you today, Lee Cummins. Oh, thank you. I didn't read that before I put it up. And we've also got Mary again with her 20th of May meeting at Hawthorne /3122. And Mary is lunching with us. So that is on the 12th of May. So yes, excellent. Well, ladies, thank you so much for joining us today on our Lunch and Learn. It was fantastic having you join us. Dr. Vesna, thank you. It was fantastic information that you shared. So appreciated you coming on. And please do contact Dr. Vesna if you are needing some support and help. She's contactable through the website, which is qttransformation.com. And also, don't forget that you can have certification in, I'm going to do a quick shout out, hypnosis, NLP practitioner certification, NLP master practitioner, and clinical hypnotherapy. But all of those are on the website. So thank you so much, everybody. Please do stay safe, stay connected, stay healthy, and we will see you at the next Connect Her, which Lunch and Learn, which is next week on Tuesday at 12:30. So thank you, everyone, and stay safe. Bye for now.
Thank you, everyone.